The Arctic National Wildlife Refuge is one of the last pristine ecosystems left in the United States. Located in the northern part of Alaska, this area has recently been opened up to oil and gas drilling, thanks to the Alaskan Senator Lisa Murkowski. During the recent tax bill overhaul, she leveraged her vote on the bill for a provision to be added that would open up oil and gas drilling in the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge. This is your discovery for the day. See, for a long time, more than 80% of Alaska's profit or revenue for the state came from oil and gas drilling already being conducted in Alaska and along its coastlines. But after poor budget planning and massive debt accumulated within their constitutional reserve budget, they're looking for more funds to continue supporting the state. Since oil drilling began, well, shortly after oil drilling began in Alaska, a constitutional amendment was added to the state constitution, creating a fund dividend that would pay out annually to residents of Alaska. And while the revenue or the dividend was all because of this idea that in the future they won't have the reserves of oil to rely on for budgetary issues in the state. And the hope is that by giving the money away, they can help the future Alaskans for generations. Now, all this revenue is at a cost. Disturbing the environment or disturbing the ecosystem in the Arctic Refuge could prove disastrous for the fauna. Animals like the polar bear, who are already suffering habitat loss from climate change. Their population was estimated to take a 66% loss in the next 50 years, and now I'd hate to think what it would be now that drilling is allowed in the Arctic Refuge. But polar bears aren't the only ones at risk. For a while there were no muskox in Alaska, until 1930 when conservation efforts took muskox from Greenland and brought them and reintroduced them to the Alaskan population. Now, even though the population is still growing, it doesn't dismiss concerns about the future of the species. Many conservationists see the Arctic Refuge as America's Serengeti. It's such a pristine ecosystem, and it contains the longest land mammal migration on the planet, where caribou travel around 800 miles from feeding grounds in the winter to birthing grounds and calving grounds in the springtime. The concern of disturbing the environment comes mostly from the fact that because of such a big migration stretch for the porcupine and caribou, if we drill and say their birthing grounds, they may not feel comfortable bearing their young somewhere else. Or if they do, they might be birthing them in a more hostile environment where their calves aren't able to grow to maturity and reproduce for the next generation of caribou or porcupine or muskox. And all that still isn't one of the worst things that could happen with drilling. An oil spill would prove disastrous for the area. Especially since it's such a remote area, cleanup would be very difficult and very costly. An oil spill on land would reach rivers, marshes, and for birds, like our own national bird, the bald eagle, who rely on the area for fishing and breeding, that could cause a decrease in their population as well, because of when oil gets stuck to their wings, it renders them unable to fly. It also strips away the essential oils that keep water repelled off them when they pull fish from rivers, and that compromises their ability to stay dry, increasing their chances of suffering from hypothermia. And many believe that in the Gulf of Mexico, where the BP oil spill happened, the area still hasn't recovered. Local businesses are still not back at where they once were. So we know very well how dangerous an oil spill can be. And it's not like we need oil. And we've made great strides in solar power and wind. The necessity for drilling in oil, while we do realize that we need it for cars and for energy at power plants for cities, it can still be substituted for something else, at least for powering cities. And as a reserve on oil, it could stay in the ground, and we could wait a little longer till we actually need it when there is more of a shortage. But on the plus side, in the next 6 months or so, we should see a drop in gas prices, hopefully, which would be nice. More people driving, more vacationing, more people going to different areas, stimulating more local economies around the country. That can't be all bad. And not all of it is all bad, which is why it's not something people talk about, or it's something I don't want to portray in this video as being the unholiest of things. Because as part of our society, we still rely on it, and we'll still need it. Something, and if you feel the need to do something, you can call Lisa Murkowski at this number and ask her why she hates polar bears and the environment. If you like the video, subscribe. I'll have more to come. And if you have any comments, I'd love to hear responses on what you guys think about the video and about drilling in the Arctic Refuge. If you're an Alaskan who lives up there and drills and is part of a oil drilling group that's already up on the northern slope of, or the one Alaskan slope, I'd also like to hear from you guys as well. I hope you enjoyed your discovery for the day. Also like the video.